Good morning. I'm here to talk to you about animal adaptations. So, the last 2 days, you first watched our introduction story of our friends Angelina, Milo, and Susie, who are always in our introduction stories and our final stories. They always are part of our science units, and we help them solve the problems with science that we learn. So you watched the introduction story, and then yesterday you listened to Mrs. McCulka read us a story called Fur and Feathers. And I'm going to start by reviewing some animals from that story and the things that they had as part of their bodies or their part of their bodies, to help them live where they do. So, one of the animals in the video was a polar bear, and it talked about how he had a thick white fur coat to keep her warm and help her hide in the ice. So, the white matches the snow, so it helps her hide, and it's thick, so it keeps her warm. There was a duck that had the feathers to help him fly. There was a porcupine with the prickly quills that helped protect her from other animals. There's a frog that was super slimy to stay moist and help him breathe through his skin. There's a fish who had smooth scales to move quickly through the water. And a snake with dry scales to help him slide along the ground when he moves. And a snail had a shell to keep the snail safe. And then the ladybug had colorful wings, and the colors warned the birds that the ladybug does not taste good. So all of those things about those animals help them live in certain places in our world because that's like the polar bear is white and it helps him blend in with the white snow. So all those things on the animal's body that help them survive where they live is because they have adaptations to that area. So they are, an adaptation is a way that a animal's body helps it survive or live in its environment. And we know its environment is the place where it stays and lives. So plants and animals both have adaptations that help them survive. And throughout this unit, I will be referring to plants and animals as organisms or maybe living things. And organisms are any life form, so that does include plants and animals, okay? So we have this big word adaptations, and we know that's what animals are doing or what animals have to help them survive, okay? So the ones I just read you, all those things help those animals survive. Sorry, I gotta charge my computer. All those things help those animals survive in their adaptations, but the adaptations could be organized in a certain way. So you should have your PLTW launch log with you, and we're going to work on this first page here. And it has the adaptations broken up into 4 different categories of the types of organization or of the types of adaptations that animals could have. So we have the first one is camouflage, and then we have protection, locomotion, and food. So camouflage is a word I'm sure you've all heard, and it helps you blend in. So there's certain animals that have the ability with their body to help them blend in so that other animals cannot eat them or catch them. The other adaptation is protection. So some animals have colors or their body has ability to do things or something on them that helps them protect themselves from other animals. Another adaptation is locomotion, and you can think of that one as movement. So locomotion is being able to move or helping you get from different places. And then the last one is food. So how an animal's body or something about its teeth or its claws or the way that the animal is built helps it get food, okay? So we're going to look at these 4 different categories of adaptations, and we're going to go back to those animals that I read about at the beginning from our fur and feather story, and we're going to decide which adaptation they have and what category it belongs in, okay? So some of them could belong in two, or there's, we'll talk about that when we get to that. So we will write our animals in this box, so make sure you have a pencil with you too, okay? Okay, so the first animal that we discussed was a polar bear. So the first thing about the polar bear was that its white coat helped her blend in with the snow. So if your if your body as an animal is helping you blend in or make sure that you can't get caught, does that mean camouflage? Does it mean they're being protected? Does it mean locomotion, like movement? Or is it helping them get food? And if they're blending in, we know that that's exactly what camouflage is. So I'm going to write the polar bear's white coat. Those are the words I'm going to write in this first one. Polar bear, white coat. Okay? So we also talked about how the thick white coat of the polar bear helps keep the polar bear warm. So that could also even be over here, its thick coat being protection. So that's kind of what I mean by some animals have lots of different adaptations. They could have one in each of these categories, okay? All right, the next one, let's talk about the porcupine. So the porcupine has sharp quills that help keep other animals away, and that ends up protecting the porcupine. So that one's pretty obvious. If you are being protected with your quills, that goes under the protection. So I'm going to write porcupine and sharp quills. Under protection. All right, the next one is about the duck, and the duck had feathers that helped it fly. The duck had feathers that helped it fly. So flying is movement, and if it's helping you move from one place to another, that's locomotion. So the duck's feathers, I'm going to write under locomotion because it's helping it move. Duck's feathers to fly. Perfect. Okay, let's talk now about the ladybug. The ladybug has colorful red wings that warn the birds that you don't want to eat it because it tastes disgusting. So the ladybug is able to have red on it, the red and black, to help protect it. It's not helping it blend in. Red doesn't blend in with our nature, does it? And it's not talking about its wings to help it move. So it's talking about it protecting itself by having those colors. So I'm going to write under protection, I'm going to write ladybug. And I'm going to write colors, because that helps protect it from other animals that might want to eat it. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is the fish. And the fish had smooth scales that helps it move through the water. So that word move should help you think, okay, which one is about movement? And that is locomotion. So I'm going to write fish, smooth scales under locomotion. All right, the next one is a snail's shell. Think about a snail shell. Does that help it blend in? Does it help protect it? Does it help it move? Or does it help it get food? And most importantly, that snail shell keeps it safe, right? So that is protection. So I'm going to write snail's shell. Whoops, I wrote in the wrong one. Under protection. I didn't check which one I was writing in. Snail's shell. All right, under the protection side. All right, and the next one is, I think that's all of them. Yep, okay. So all these adaptations we discussed from our story, none of them have food. So none of our adaptations talked about helping the animal get food. So I'd like you to think of an animal, maybe on your own here, I'm going to end up writing one down, but how an animal gets food. So think of something on a part of an animal or part of its body that helps it eat. There's lots of animals we know. So humans have teeth, and we have hands and arms that help put the food in our mouth, and our teeth help us chew it. So any of your ideas for food could go under here. And similar to humans, Miss Lumsden is thinking about the sharks and their teeth. So I'm going to write sharks and their teeth to help them get food. And the other animal I'm thinking of is like a bald eagle or a really big bird that has super big claws and talons that help it grab its food when it's flying over there. So I'm going to write that it's claws. Okay. So you have some ideas for food. And if you have more animals that you've thought of, you can add them to your list, okay? All right, so this is the last part of our lesson for today. So today, remember, we learned 4 different types of adaptations. The first one is camouflage, helping animals blend in. The next one is things that protect our animals, things that help our animals or plants move, or things that help our animals or plants obtain food. Okay, I will see you back tomorrow, and we will talk a little bit more about locomotion. All right, see ya.